Hey, what's up, guys? I feel like I'm not doing a lot of rock stuff, so I want to do some power chord lessons. We're going to start with 2 notes, and then we're going to get into 3-note power chords. Just the usual, that kind of stuff. What I love about this is kind of like punk inspired a little bit, but if we take just our 2-note power chords, if I start just here on my D, right, 5th fret, my A string, just a 5-7, regular old power chord. If I move this, what you guys probably already understand is wherever my first finger is the name of this power chord, okay? And it's usually named as a 5. So we got D5. The reason it's D5 is just to get a touch of theory with the 1, the 3, and the 5 of each chord, if you guys know what those are. The 3 is what makes it a major or a minor chord, and there is no 3 in power chords, which gives it a little bit of an open feel, and it doesn't touch on major or minor. So if I do this, it's different than if I do, right? It's got totally different feel. So anyway, let's get into it. Wherever that first finger is the root note. So here I have a D, switch to my A, switch to my B, and then down to my G. That's totally fine, and I love it. And then if you're gonna do the 3 notes, but there's a different way to play some of these, and I wanna show that to you guys, is if I take any power chord, right, like this, 2 frets apart, 5 and 7, if I move that and I do 3 frets apart, this is now the root note. Now the thing is, it changes the power chord. What I mean by that is, this is now the root note, but there is no 5th. This becomes the 3rd. So this would be a major power chord, all right? Technically not really, because it's not the 5, but we're switching from a power chord to something that's 2 notes in major, and that's now the root note, okay? So this would be, that's an A, right? If you guys got to do the octave from the 6th string, that's my A. So that is an A major power chord, or however it is that we're going to describe that, okay? Now if I move this down one more, have an even bigger stretch from 3 to 7, so I got those 3 frets in between. Now this is the same thing. That's my root note, but this is the minor 3rd, so this becomes minor. So this is an A minor. All right, so just from the top, I have D, root note, regular 2-note power chord. Move this down, have those 2 frets in between. This becomes an A major, and then if I move that down even more, A minor. So just to do something completely random, if I were to pick 9 to 12, right here, that has those 2 frets in between, so that means this is the root note and it's major. So this is D, so that's a D major. If I were to just do something even more random, I'm gonna go 5 to 9. I have those 3 frets in between now, right? Not just the usual power chord, not the 2 frets, the 3 frets in between. This is now my root note, and it's minor. So I have a F sharp minor, all right? So I just wanted to show you guys that. There's some really cool ways to play around it. Now, in this case, if I were to do D, A, B to G, this is how I could now play it. D, A, B, and if I'm doing that and the bass is still kind of like really hammering out those root notes, it's going to give it a little bit more of a musical feel without taking away from kind of like that raw, almost like old school Ramones kind of punk sound, or even like Green Day, like kind of like more into the alternative in the 90s punk. It's still not doing, which doesn't really have the same feel. So that's how you play. So if you guys watch, if I do that same exact progression, D, A, bring this down to the 2nd fret, B. Now, if I move this up to G, that becomes a G major. A, B, G. So now, technically it's D, A major, B, G major. Now that B is minor. If you guys really want to count how this is kind of laid out in a progression would be a 1 to a 5, 6, which is my minor, and 4. So my 1 major, 5 major, 6 minor, and 4 major. So just keep that in mind, because if I were to do this, right, that second power chord, if I'm going to make that an A minor, it breaks the key a little bit. So you're going to need to know, first chord, second chord, third chord, fourth chord, fifth chord, sixth chord. You're going to need to know where those are for these power chords, just to know if they're major and minor. Now that you're kind of diving into major and minor and not just sticking on those fifths. Last thing that I want to do is, if you want to add the third note, you have the power chord. If I take this D, 5, 7, 7 now. Now if I'm going to bring this down, right, just like we did before, down 1 fret, this also needs to come down 1 fret. So it kind of looks like this, 4, 7, 4. All right, so it doesn't always happen, but just in case you wanted to do that, that does mean if I were to make that minor, and I had to come all the way down to 3 and 7 like we did, I'd have to bring this down and be 3, 7, and 5. All right, so that just gets a little bit more difficult, but still really musical. Like, I love using that. Right, for an A minor, I can kind of switch from C, a C major power chord.
All right, guys, a little interruption. My friend Faye just knocked on the door here. We're both teaching at the same place, and I haven't seen her in a while.
So anyway, that last part I wanted to show you just because it's like cool getting into a little bit more theory and understanding how to piece this together. But like I was just kind of saying, if I have this C power chord, and I take that note and move it up 2 frets, and now I have that. So I'm kind of going 3, 5, 5 to 3, 7, 5. It just switches from a C power chord to an A minor. Keeping that C in the bass. What's really cool about this, that little thing that I just showed you and how to mess around with it, and just this whole lesson in general, is only moving one of the 2 notes or 2 of the 3 notes or whatever to go from chord to chord rather than just these full motions. So that's why, like, D to A, just kind of, it has a different sound to it. So anyway, something that you guys wanted to get into. I hope you like it, and I will talk to you guys soon.